Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program, where today we are having a look at the Nice MKseries Body mod, which is being made by forum user Kerbin. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game are some pretty amazing fighter plane parts, especially some really cool cockpits. And sadly, this is a mod I really should have looked at a long time ago. It's been around for a good few months at this point, and unfortunately I kept confusing it with another mod that I had done a video on. So here we finally are, and let's jump into the spaceplane hangar to take a look at what parts this does add. Now let's grab a Mark I cockpit for size comparison's sake, and then head down to our janitor's closet mod filters, just leaving on NMB. And we'll start, of course, with those amazing cockpits for this thing, the first of which is just super cool, and is in fact the Super Sylph. Apparently, after reading through the forum post for this, it's based off of a fighter plane from an anime, one which I'm not familiar with, but yes, it's an amazing sci-fi looking cockpit that kind of reminds me of an insect for some reason, but all in all, a very cool thing. Has a crew capacity of 2, minimum 1 to operate, has a built-in data transmitter, lifting surface reaction wheel, the crew report, and a 200 electric charge in there. It is a very interesting cockpit. I do really love the design of this thing. It's just so unique looking. Now let's pop that off though and look at the next, which is the F-14D Tomcat cockpit. And if we pop that one around, there we are, a beautiful looking thing, again with a crew capacity of 2, minimum of 1 to operate, data transmitter, reaction wheel, crew report, and 200 electric charge. And as well, Tomcat. How can you not like having a Tomcat? It's just good. The next is the J-10C cockpit, which does have its own air intake on there, which is very handy. This one, though, only holds 1 crew member, and of course, 1 minimum to operate, with a data transmitter, reaction wheel, that air intake I mentioned, crew report, 200 electric charge, and of course that amount 1 air intake. Always good. Now the next one we have is the Type 35 cockpit. This one, another beautiful looking thing, again with only 1 crew member, minimum of 1, data transmitter, lifting surface, reaction wheel, air intake, crew report, and 200 electric charge. All in all, a very good thing. The next is the Type 57, once more, holding 1 crew member and 1 minimum to operate. And I do like the extra little details of all of this over here. It amuses me. No drinking and flying, folks. That's a good thing to remember. And, of course, once again, 1 crew member, data transmitter, lifting surface, reaction wheel, crew report, and 200 electric charge. Now, the next cockpit is the Type 20, and this one, another gorgeous-looking thing with some built-in air intakes, and holding 1 crew member, data transmitter, lifting surface, reaction wheel, crew report, and 200 electric charge. And then we have the Advanced Flanker cockpit. Again, this one holding 1 crew member on the inside, another very unique, cool design to this thing. And having data transmitter, lifting surface, reaction wheel, crew report, and 200 electric charge. And finally, we have the Type 22, which, again, this one has intakes built in, which is very nice to have, and has 1 crew member, data transmitter, lifting surface, reaction wheel, crew report, and 200 electric charge. So they're all more or less identical, as you can tell from all the stats I read out there, with the one exception of some having air intakes, and 2 of them up here holding 2 crew members. But all in all, some very cool cockpits. Now we also do have nothing in fuel tank, sadly, but we have 2 different engines in here. The 1100 and... oh no, that's 117S. I was reading the S as a 5. There we go. So the 117S turbo engine, which does 160 kilonewtons of thrust and has an ISP of 9,000 using liquid fuel and air intake, and has a 15-degree vectoring range, giving it quite a bit of maneuverability when flying. Now we then have the Product 30 turbo engine, which has 180 kilonewtons of thrust, though more or less identical looks-wise, and this one though having 11,000 ISP, liquid fuel, air intake, and again 15 degrees of vectoring range. Now we have nothing in command and control, in structural, and in coupling, but in payload we got a couple of fun things. Now the first is the Type 22 bomb bay, so if you do like playing around with mods that add in missiles and bombs and things like that, we have 3 lovely bomb bays for you to use. This first one, the Type 22, does hold 300 liquid fuel in it, and is of course a lifting surface with this body type, and has 3 different things it can open. The first being a fuel probe door right up top there, and I do like the extra detail on the texturing there to sort of, you know, guide you in. We then have the main cargo, which is the bottom bomb bay doors, which open up to a very nice area in there. And then we also have the side cargo doors, where you could fit perhaps, you know, a missile or something along those lines on either side. So very nice, a lot of good options. Overall, just a very cool part. We then have the Type 35 bomb bay with 200 liquid fuel and, of course, lifting surface. And this one only has 2 to open, the first being the fuel port with a nice different texture to, you know, guide you in. And then, of course, the undercarriage bomb bay. Now, this one kind of split into 2 different sections of the undercarriage of the aircraft, but very nice. I do like all the detail in there, especially, you know, the little... At least, is that supposed to be a warning sign? I guess so. And yeah, just nice little things. And then finally, we have the Type 57 bomb bay. Now, this one only has 1 singular thing to open, which is, of course, the bomb bay, and is just a large open internal area there. Nice and centered. Overall, though, very good. This one holding 400 liquid fuel, since it doesn't have all the other things like the other 2, and again is a lifting surface. We then have this Type 35 EOTS, which, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure what this thing is, but looks kind of cool. I think it has something to do with the JSI mod, but I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure because I've just been playing with this mod with just the bare minimum of things installed. So, yeah, it's a thing. Looks cool. And then moving down into aerodynamics, we have 3 things in here. The first being the flanker intake, which of course goes with the flanker cockpit we saw earlier. And of course this can be radially attached, but does also have an attachment node and is just a lovely air intake. We also have the flanker tail, which goes right on there. Excellent. Let's zoom out a bit, and is just, you know, a nice pointed sort of half body tail thing, which does hold 100 liquid fuel and also 200 electric charge within it, and actually does give it a very nice look. I do like it. And then we have the Sylph Canard, which is just a nice little thing here. It's actually meant to, if we pop that cockpit out, I believe, if I'm remembering the picture of that anime fighter before, it goes here. Oh god, let's actually rotate it the correct way. Oh no, I think it was actually rotated the right way. I think I've borked it now. Well, yeah, it goes there, but you know, rotated because I'm a fool. But yes, a nice little canard though you could use anywhere else. And after that, if we go through all the other categories here, you'll see we got nothing. So after aerodynamics, that is it. So let's actually go and open up one craft file I made for this, because one of the cool things about all of those cockpits, they all have interior views. Now I should mention that they do use asset props and also roster prop monitor. So if we fill these all up and head out to launch, you will see the beautiful looking cockpits. But again, if you don't use asset and roster prop monitor, it's going to look a bit more sparse. But overall, still actually pretty good. So let's start in the first of the cockpits, which actually is going to be the Sylph over here. And there we go. Lovely little thing. Does look good. We got a good, nice view of the back there. A lot of good detailing. Love all the switches. I didn't... Oh, we actually have a configuration error. I didn't notice that before. Interesting. Something to do with JSI. All right, okay. Note to self for later. But yes, overall, a lot of nice switches to this thing. So let's actually move... Ooh, wrong button. Let's move to the next guy in the cockpit here. This is the second seat in the Sylph. There we are, just a lot of more switches, more screens, etc. All good. We then have this cockpit here. A lot of good gauges. I really like that one there. Just a nice look to it. And again, just good detailing all around. Very fun. And then we have this one, another good looking cockpit here. Love the manuals, love the switches, love the screens. All in all, very good. We then have this particular cockpit here. Again, just a lot of good detailing to it. Very nicely made. Maybe those switches are in slightly the wrong place, just from where those dotted line textures are. Interesting. Hadn't noticed that before. And then we have this cockpit, another good one here. Again, a lovely detailing all around, and we can apparently see another Kerbal's head over there. Interesting. Okay, good times. And then we move on to this cockpit here. Again, just a lot of good detail going into things. Always nice. And then this one. Very good. We have no fuel. Oh no! And then this one here, another really great one. I really like the 3 screens going across. Very, very cool. And then this one right here. We got a nice little small screen. Kind of hard to read right there, but hey, you know, could be useful. And then that brings us back to the Sylph. So, oh, there we go. Actually, no, I don't think that one was the Sylph. I think that one was this one, the Type 57. Yes, I was wrong. Let's go all the way to the end and back to the Type 57. View, no. Ah, there we go. I didn't notice those as I was trying to go through. Well, so again, the Type 57, nice little cockpit here. And now back to the Sylph. There we go. Okay, so that is all the various cockpits, all very nicely made, again using a roster prop monitor and asset. So let's revert flight to the space plane hangar and actually get out a plane I made with this stuff earlier. And I gotta actually say, for a plane I made in about 5 minutes just throwing parts together for the video, it's actually one of the nicest planes I've ever built flying-wise. It works really good. But, of course, I use the Super Sylph cockpit here with a flanker intake so that it didn't look quite so weird, since that cockpit really does only take up half the space on the sort of standard body frame here. Then, of course, we have the Type 35 bomb bay down there, the lovely Product 30 engines, and all in all, makes for a fun little plane. And I put the canards in a very weird area at the end of these wings for some reason, but hey, that's where they went. So let's go and launch and take this baby off, and it flies really well. This is honestly one of the best planes I've ever made. And I seriously threw it together in like 5 minutes, which kind of worries me that maybe I should not think about my build so much anymore. Alright, so let's throttle up, fire the engine. And these are some pretty good powerful engines. I love the blue particle effect, very cool there. And again, just this interesting sci-fi cockpit. It's pretty cool. Oh god, take off, take off, take off. I wasn't paying attention to, you know, actually taking off there. Throttle back, bring up the landing gear. And we are flying. Nice and comfortable. And yes, overall, this is just a wonderful little mod of some really, really cool fighter plane parts. I love the bomb bays, even though I don't really care much for, like, BD armory and things like that. I just like the idea of having, like, different bays that I can use. And this is a very cool one here. And, of course, we have the fuel port up top as well. It's just anything that, you know, adds some more space for me to put in things I enjoy. It's always fun. But yes, this is the Nice MKseries Body mod, a lovely selection of fighter plane parts for you to enjoy, and I would definitely recommend that you do check out this mod for yourself, as it is just so interesting and very well made. And if you'd like to have a look, you can take a look at the link in the description, as per usual. But that's going to be it for today, my friends. I hope you all have enjoyed and that you do come back for the next episode. But until that time, thank you for watching. And as always, have a good one.